Tambula means take. It's an Oshuamba word. We thought of what can we give to the rest of the world or Africa. It's a word that's used every day. So by saying take, that's basically where the name comes from. Take what we have to offer. Tambula was founded in 2019, so we basically saw that there's a need for a lot of locally made products in our market, and the easiest thing to do was to bring them in one marketplace. And with the whole fourth industrial revolution, we thought of why not a better place than it being online. So that was the idea.
Before we went into the hard lockdown, there was a lot of talk around how would informal vendors and street vendors actually continue to make a living. This is going to affect them and their income. So generally in the development world, there was a lot of conversation around informality and digitalization, really a focus on formalizing the businesses as opposed to just working informally on the side of the road or in a market. We sat down and said, how can we help the street vendors continue to get some sort of income? And we had just come across Tambula, and in our discussion we're like, okay, what if we ask, like, our proposal to Jerobium would be, could we add an informal market on your platform, on your e-commerce platform, where as a customer you go online, you order, Tambula receives the order, and they go to the vendor, pick it up from where they are, and bring it to you as the customer.
UNDP actually brought Impact Tank on board as a venture builder to assist with the Tambula project. Because we are an implementation partner, we thought it viable to commercialize the Tambula program in the long run. So what the public see actually is a digital marketplace, right? Where we can buy goods online from the informal street vendors. But there is actually this commercial engine behind what Tambula is. So the Tambula project actually allows for exchanges between the informal sector amongst each other, sort of the movement of raw materials using, of course, e-bikes, but then also to allow mainstream Namibians to purchase goods from the informal sector, the street vendors and the artisans online.
We're basically giving vendors creative control in terms of what do they make that is locally sourced. So we're not really limiting anyone to bring their products to the marketplace, but we also encouraging value addition. So we have a lot of informal vendors who have raw materials. So now finding that link and creating a whole chain.
A lot of the Tambula ventures are actually all across the country. I think we have representation across 6 different regions, and some of these vendors are in different categories. So we've got beauty and crafts, we've got food and beverage, we've got visual artists on the specific platform, and all of them have this different degree of maturity and where their business is in terms of formalization. So Impact Tank is able to meet these vendors where they specifically are. If they don't have a bank account, we're equipping them with bank accounts. If they don't have clear branding and a strategy, then Impact Tank is ultimately providing them with that necessary support, but meeting the vendors where they are. And I think that's a critical component for the Namibian people when we are actually buying and transacting on the Tambula platform. We often see that in the informal market, the digital literacy rates are very low, and we've been able to increase those numbers through the training that we're providing the Tambula vendors. So every Tambula vendor is actually getting equipped and the skills to manage their own online store. So it's not your usual digital platform, right? It's actually a vendor, an informal street vendor, managing their own digital store.
The wonderful thing with this project is just grown organically. Outside of the actual digital transactions, we've also been on the ground at the borders, because there's so many cross-border traders that could benefit from being on Tambula, but they are doing the physical work themselves by crossing every 2 months, whether it's to buy or to sell. So there are lots of angles that we're still planning on testing outside of the digital transactions.
The AFTA free trade agreement is actually so vital and so important because that allows Namibian goods to be brought to other African countries. We've piloted the exchange of Namibian goods to Zambia as well as Zimbabwe.
One of the successes was the launch of the Tambula platform, and we had all our vendors present. They got to engage and meet our stakeholders as well as the public. And it was quite interesting to see from all these products, we're also able to create recipes. It was quite surprising for me to see what our local chefs could make from the products which were made by the vendors, and for them to see it as well and not even imagining how far it could go. So just seeing that synergy, I think it was very, I was speechless.
There was a large gap in the economy where impact and commercialization is currently not happening. And at Impact Tank, that's really our goal. It's where can we get private sector, public sector, impact, and all that commercialization capital flowing and working together in this symbiotic relationship with each other.